speak out, guys. Please.
Yeah, the question is basically, you all know what happened with Bandai?
No.
All right then. Way to keep up with the industry. Bandai basically is laying off a whole bunch of people. They're not going to go through the same process they have for distributing anime in the U.S. and the way they have because of all the piracy and such. So the question is, like, is there any fear that that'll happen with the video game industry?
Who casts?
Oh.
Who directs and casts here?
Well, here's the thing I'll say is that they're completely two different businesses with two completely different business models, and anime really hasn't been profitable in the last 10 years, unfortunately, which is what's going on, but video games are still incredibly profitable. Also, it's a lot easier to pirate animation and TV shows and that kind of stuff than it is to pirate video games, so piracy doesn't really affect it so much. Also, like, if you want to pirate a video game, you have to then mod your console, and then you have to go through specific things. It's like, not only is it harder, but it's a completely different business model. And video game industry is doing fine for the most part, as long as people are making games. They're good.
And hiring us, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I think most of you would agree that, like, as far as voice acting business is concerned, more of the money is coming from video games than anything, right?
In LA, yeah.
I mean, like, you can still get SNES and emulate, like, Super NES games, but, like, as far as, like, being able to do that with, like, a Wii title or a PS3 title, it's really kind of,
Next questions. Yes.
So, do you have any techniques that you use to help sustain your voice through a long video game session? Like
water.
Screaming or fighting?
Scotch.
Sleep.
Water. Hot tea.
Yeah. Slaughter a chicken.
Good spray. Grapeseed oil.
It's also the director's job to make sure, well, it's the actor's and the director's job to make sure that you're pacing yourself and that the really loud stuff like the screaming and the dying is saved for the end. So that way you don't pass out in the booth and you don't blow your voice. So.
Have you found there's a different approach?
It's different, there's a Chinese cough syrup, a Chinese, like, sore throat syrup. Or a golden throat,
Secret.
all that stuff. And it actually just, it lubricates your vocal cords to help you get through the session. And many of us have worked on games where we're screaming at the top of our lungs for a couple hours at least. And then your voice is literally shot for the day. So you're trying to minimize the damage. And if you blow your voice out, then you can't work the next day, most likely. And I've had that happen. In a world, one man. And then normally it's like, I can't get that low, sorry.
There's lozenges called Golden Lotus that are really good too. I got them at a, what? It's PCB, yeah, and actually I got it from the Rocky, the African American guy that was in all the Rocky movies. He directed.
Carl Weathers.
Yes, and he was handing them out at a war game session. I'm trying to remember the name of the game, but it was hard.
Red
it was
Faction
3 hours.
Gorilla.
Red Faction. That's what it was called. Thank you.
We started the session with like, hi, it's nice to meet you. Here you go.
Yeah.
You're gonna need this.
Tea and lozenges, and by the end I was just like coated with sweat.
Yep.
Yeah, that was one of the hardest sessions I've ever had.
It was hard, but it's like, that's Apollo Creed from Rocky.
I know, and he was very gentle, but it was war.
And Action Jackson, yes.
Yeah.
It was a Predator.
Thank you for filling in the small info there.
It was also in the heat of the night. Arrested Development.
Uh,
Yes.